Hey there, everybody. I'm back. Let's tell you how the day went. Now, it was a Sunday, and the weird thing about today was not even the day when it started, but the night. And the reason why was because I had a really interesting dream, and I even recorded it on this notebook. So I guess I could start everything off with that, because I think it's pretty interesting. Let's do this. All right, June 29th, 2025. I recorded this at church, by the way. Today, for whatever reason, I feel more clear-headed. The exact opposite as last week. Part of me wonders if it has anything to do with listening to a new quantum meditation. I started listening to this 2 nights ago. This quantum meditation supposedly refocuses your subconscious on being financially fruitful and free. Yesterday, I found $10 on the floor. It may have been a coincidence, but part of me wondered, maybe this whole quantum thing really does work. So I listened to it again last night. As I was drifting asleep, I distinctly remembered suddenly being woken up by the sound of the meditation as I started to drift. So for example, I was doing this, nodding off, and then, as if the sound of the meditation grew louder in my ear as I was falling asleep. Then I tried to go back to sleep again. I remember having a very interesting dream last night. In it, there were 3 spirits in 3 television sets. The televisions were the big boxy CRT televisions that had those channel knobs attached to them and a wooden frame. The kind of television you would see in a late 50s or early 60s household. These bulky devices were sticking out of what I remember were junkyard piles, very similar looking to the junkyard piles found in the movie WALL-E, if anyone remembers that Pixar film. The only distinct action I can remember in the dream was gathering around one of the TVs, where a friend of my brother's appeared as a ghostly figure in the television frame, banging on the screen as if trying to get out. I remember saying something like, "I hope you find what you're looking for," then walking away from the screen and into a cavern of trash, sort of like a Grand Canyon, I suppose. And then I woke up. If I were to attempt a meaning behind this dream, I would probably say it has something to do with long unseen individuals from my past who I don't see anymore trying to get my attention in the deep recesses of my mind. But instead of getting involved with someone who's not there with me, I instead wish them luck and go about my way. Perhaps it's my subconscious working through past memories to see if they still serve me now. Maybe that's why I woke up more clear-headed this morning. Maybe it's because my brain worked something out. So even though I didn't literally get richer today, maybe I got more mentally or spiritually richer. I thought that was quite interesting. Well, I shared the whole dream part. Let's move on to what happened after the dream, the morning. Now, in the morning, I remember waking up to my mom opening the door saying that breakfast was getting prepared. So I got up, very tired and groggily, and dragged myself to the kitchen table. Now, when I got to the kitchen table, I was asked if I could start grating the cheese for what we were having, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a combination of egg, scrambled egg, tortillas, and also potato. The potato hash browns. There you go. Now, as we were doing our kitchen duties, my mom had a really sour attitude, and the reason for that was because she got her tooth chipped. And so she wasn't in the best mood today. So she was very irritable. You asked her something, she'd act out in sort of a way where she's like impatient and short, I guess you could say. Now, I started noticing this really funky smell, and I remember my mom and our family friend thought it was coming from the pan they were going to cook the hash browns on. But I didn't think so, because it smelled more of burnt rubber. But when they said they thought it was the pan, I thought it was the pan too, because like, well, I guess it has to be. And I was still waking up, so I was like, I don't trust this pan. And then my mom kept on saying, well, you were the one who washed it last, so what, do you think it's good, or do you think we should change it? And she kept on asking me that over and over again. And I said, let's change it. I value our well-being more than if I cleaned a pan properly or not. And so we swapped the pan out with another long pan. And then I realized we had one of those pan covers that was next to our heater, or we have a gas stove with fire, and it was very close to the fire on the gas stove, which made me realize, oh dang, I think that's where the smell's coming from, because it smelled like burning rubber. So I took the cover, which is made up of glass and then a rubber banding around the glass that is supposed to keep food and moisture from escaping when you put it on top of a pan. That lid was next to the fire, so I took it away and I put it in the sink, and I let my mom and family friend know about it, and they both agreed that the smell coming from that made more sense than from the pan. Yeah, we did solve that issue, but yeah, I feel like with every breath of that burning rubber, my life was shortened by like 3 minutes or something. Yeah, it was really, really bad. It was even still remaining in the air, even with all the windows open for the air to escape. It took a while before it was finally gone. But we did eat our food, and it was quite good. I put ketchup on both the hash browns and the egg, and that was quite tasty. And then my mom wanted me to get ready for church, so I did. I changed into nicer shorts because the shorts I had on have been ripped, well, not ripped, but sort of pulled apart by my cat, who's dug his nails in the pants, the shorts. So you can see like holes, and little holes, but little strings and stuff hanging from it. If you look, it's not too hard to miss. And so it looks really raggedy. So luckily I did get brand new shorts from Amazon a while ago, about a month ago. So I switched these shorts out with those, and was good to go. Wet my hair because I looked like Einstein, and I combed it, and we went off to church. I took my notebook with me. As the sermon was being presented, I was writing what I remembered from my dream during the sermon. Although I do remember the sermon, what it was about, which was basically, don't let your flesh dictate how you should live your life. Let the Holy Spirit dictate how you should live your life, and don't say what people want to hear, say what they don't want to hear, make them uncomfortable so they have to face uncomfortable truths to truly grow and develop as an individual, which I thought were very good messages and very important messages to get out there. After the sermon, most of the people, the church, are quite above my age range. I mean, there are a few that are near my age, upper 20s, early 30s, somewhere around there. But normally, after sermons, I just kind of want to leave. I don't really want to hang around, if I'm being honest. And I usually drive with my mom and or our family friend, and I just kind of wait with them. But today was a bit different, where I was stopped by this like older gentleman, looked to be in his 70s or somewhere around there. He needed a cane to walk. He looked extremely stiff, and he apparently had a biblical name. And I gotta be honest, I don't remember what it was, but he asked me if I knew where his name came from, and I didn't. And he told me the exact specific books the name derived, and the person who had the name originally had another name, but their name was changed. They were originally a persecutor of Christians, and then they became a Christian themselves. Yeah, it was an interesting interaction, but I didn't really know what to add to it. It feels kind of like if you were at a convention and you met someone who really knew everything about like a superhero, but you've never read the comic they're talking about. So you just kind of politely nod and go, oh, well, that sounds cool. And because you don't really know what to say, say as little as possible to move along. And that was kind of me at that point. Yeah. So we said our goodbyes, and then I remember another conversation that was extremely uncomfortable and just I don't want to be here right now feeling. And that was when I was walking on my way to the front exit, and there was a lady, older lady, who stopped me, and well, I stopped by her, I believe, and she said, "Oh, you came to church today 2 times in a row." You know, I remember when I missed church, I felt really sad about it, and I would always be glad I'd be able to go. And it's because the job I have, being a courtesy clerk, they always shift me around every single week, my schedule. And so I don't really have that luxury of asking for a specific day like Sunday off every single week, because they need workers, because their workers are limited sometimes. So it's out of my control when it comes to asking for every single Sunday, every single week off. But she was basically, I don't know, it just felt like she was kind of trying to guilt me to the fact that my job needs me on Sundays every now and then and can't be at the church all the time. I mean, I could sense it. That's how it really felt like. And then at the end, she said, "Your face tells me, why am I around these older ladies?" And I guess that was my expression. And yeah, I just wanted to get out of there, if I'm being honest. So I walked out, and me and our family friend, she likes to leave sooner as well as I do. And when we were on our way in the car, I remember talking to her about like how that interaction between that older lady just made me not really vibe at all. I mean, it felt very like a one-way conversation, like it had a really condescending, assuming feel to it. I mean, I don't know if that's really what she was going for, but that's how it felt to me. And and also she didn't really ask me. It wasn't a two-way conversation. It was where, "Oh, how are you? What are you up to? What's going on?" In my opinion, a good conversator doesn't judge, or they don't try to morph someone into what they want them to be. They ask you how you're doing, and then you ask them how they're doing, and or one person learns more about the other and the other person learns more about the other. That's what I imagine two-way conversation is, right? And this felt more like, ooh, these are my opinions on you and what I think of you, and like very one-way conversation, like just felt off. I didn't like it. You didn't really come to talk to me because you wanted to know about how I'm doing. You did it just so you could judge me, I guess. I mean, again, I could be reading too much into this, and maybe I'm just making all of this up in my head, and this could just entirely be on me, and I fully acknowledge that, but this is just how I felt. Anyways, we got home after the whole church thing. The first time we got there, I made myself a cup of coffee, and I had 2 chocolate rice cakes. I watched 2 videos. One was a Digital Foundry video on the new game System Shock 2, released by Night Dive Studios, being played by a veteran of that game series and a newbie of that game series, and them just doing a casual playthrough of it and talking about it along the way. And then the other video was a Dan Dingle video, and this is a YouTuber who basically likes to make a bunch of silly AI content based on like using songs and remixes and like generate video, things like that. And with this specific video, he was basically making 2 genres that really shouldn't fit together and see if they could make a certified banger, as he called it, which is basically just lingo for a really good song. Most of them were pretty lame. There may have been a few that I were like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting, but it's AI music, so it's really just something to mess around with, but not something really take seriously, just little funsies to have with your mates, I suppose. Well, anyways, my mom arrived, and she gave me till 3:30 to do my own agenda before we would get started on working on the tiles today, because we need to get the tiles that we're going to have for our room we're making ready to go with sealant on them, 2 layers of sealant, So that way, when they're hooked up on the wall and it's gonna be like a kitchenette area, if someone's cooking something and they accidentally like spill juice or whatever, then the wall will be fine because there will be a sealant that protected the area from getting stains and things like that. So I decided to use that time to work on a brand new video, and this video was the first episode for my Brain Jam Extra channel. So I have my primary channel that I want to post high quality content on, Brain Jam, which will basically have me teaching myself how to become a better artist and storyteller with various mixed media forms of displaying that. Maybe like animation wrappers at the beginning and the end, and me telling what I've learned so far and showing my process and saying where I think I'm at and where I'm going to be studying to go forward. And I kind of want it to be a channel that focuses on people who are in the same spot I am, where they are interested in becoming better at art, but they don't really have like a way to, or a direction or an idea of where to go with that desire. And I'm hoping that this video series will kind of help carve that path out, or that certainty out of like, oh, so if they can do it, then I can do it too, you know? Sort of like encouragement, entertainment, educational channel, if that makes any sense. It feels weird to say educational because it's like I'm trying to say like I'm a teacher. I'm no teacher at all. I'm just some guy who wants to learn how to draw, you know? And I just think it'd be fun to explore that. But anyways, with this video I was working on, I wanted to basically cut out as much fluff as I possibly could, get straight to what I've learned so far, and then post it on the extra channel. The extra channel will be me constructing the YouTube videos for the main Brain Jam channel, and the Brain Jam will be the main Brain Jam videos. It's going to be a lot of fun, although I'm thinking that maybe I should schedule these things out so that way I don't overwhelm myself, because it's a lot of footage that I've chosen to edit together, like 2 hours worth, and I'm like, maybe it would be a better idea to film me working on something for 1 hour and then just continue working on it after hitting the stop recording button, and then I can just edit that 1 hour and it'll take me a much shorter amount of time than recording 2 hours and then editing that down into like a digestible like 20 to 30 minute video, because that's a lot of work. Case in point, I shrunk the video down in DaVinci Resolve to from 2 hours to 40 minutes. And I was thinking, oh, it's sped up, so that means it'll be much faster to edit. And I suppose that's correct. But at the same time, I worked on that for about like an hour, I believe. And I think I only got like the first 5 minutes down out of 40 minutes, which I suppose isn't too bad. But at the same time, if this is how long it's going to take to edit a 2-hour video, then I need to really reweigh my options. And one more thing I want to say about editing it. Most of the time was spent trying to fix the audio, because for whatever reason, the audio in the video was very poppy and crackly, and it just sounded really bad. So I was trying to figure out how to make that work. I don't think I found a good way yet. Well, anyways, my sister arrived, and when she arrived, we started working on the tiles. We had to get each one out. We had to dust each one. We had to lay them out on various tarps and surfaces, external surfaces, including old wood, old tables, and foam coverings. And we put a sealant on top, and then we had to let it dry. And while we let it dry for the first hour and a half, we had a little Y-Files break. And this Y-Files episode that we decided to watch was the one about the tall whites, which are apparently a secret alien race that are controlling things with like the shadow government. It's pretty crazy stuff. Well, anyways, we had to stop at about 15 minutes in, because even though it was 15 minutes in, it took us about a good like hour and a half to like cool things down, I guess you could say, because we actually based the timer on when we last left our previous stones in, because when we worked on the first stones and then we continued with the next stone and the next stone, by the time we finished those stones, it had been like a good hour for that stone. And so when we set an hour limit for letting the sealant harden, it would have been ready for the first stones we did. And then we'd work from those and take it from there. And so around 15 minutes in, it was time to do another sealant job. And this one was much quicker than the first one because all of the stones didn't need to be dusted or taken out of their packaging. So all we need to do was put the sealant on, have it rubbed in, and do that for all of them. Now, I had an unfortunate accident happen, which was that I was walking over to the sealant, and then we had one of those funnel things that we use to help drain the sealant into a pumping device to spray sealant on the tiles. And there was still some sealant on that. And when I accidentally, my foot landed on the ridge of that funnel with the sealant on, it shot up, and then the sealant liquid shot down through my pant leg and onto my skin. And so I needed to immediately run into the restroom and take a shower because I did not want to have sealant staying in that area because it would not have been good. And yeah, it was like the fastest shower I ever took. It was like less than 5 minutes because I was just focusing on my leg area. But man, was that scary. Well, we were able to finish double sealing them. We finished our Y files. Then we bid my sister good night. Me and my mom then took the sealant or the sealed pavers after they had hardened, and we put them in the back room that we're going to eventually put the pavers onto the wall. And we chillaxed with our phones together for a little while. And I almost forgot to mention, I actually made 2 silly AI videos where I shrunk my sister and my mom next to my cat, or our cat, and then I asked the AI video generator to make it so they were riding the cat like a horse. And it was able to do a fairly competent job, but it made my sister into a smaller person for some reason, and it made my mom's face morph into contorted, scary ways. So it was a mixed bag of results, we'll put it that way. But we put it on the fam text group and they all noticed the scary face, so yeah. Well, my mom wanted me to put some guitar music in the background of that video, and I did, and it's a very surreal video for sure. And then it was time to get ready for bed, and now I'm gonna go to sleep. So thank you for tuning into this newest episode, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.